Okay, folks, so get ready, because today we're going deep on this pretty wild idea.
Mm-hmm.
Someone tried to connect Newton's third law of motion to the book of Job.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so we're talking science and religion all mixed up together.
Interesting combination.
Right. But that's what makes this deep dive so interesting.
For sure, for sure.
Okay, so first things first, let's do a quick recap of Newton's third law.
Okay.
You know, for every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction.
Yeah.
Think of like bouncing a ball.
Yeah.
Like you push down on it, and it pushes back up with the same force.
Oh, yeah, totally.
Right.
Right.
But it can have some pretty big implications.
Yeah, it kind of hints at like this balance built into how the universe works.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Now, buckle up, because this is where it gets really interesting.
Okay.
Our source took this law and applied it to the book of Job.
Interesting.
Yes, specifically to this conversation between Job and his friend Eliphaz.
Okay.
You know the story of Job, right?
Oh, yeah, I mean,
He
basically.
loses everything.
Yeah, he's lost everything.
Family, wealth, health,
Absolutely everything.
total despair.
It's really important to get how much Job is suffering here.
Yeah.
Like he's lost everything that gave his life meaning.
Totally.
And that really helps us understand why Eliphaz reacts the way he does.
Right. So Eliphaz comes in with what our source calls this Newtonian take on Job's situation.
Uh-huh.
He's basically saying that all this suffering has to be a reaction to something Job did,
Okay.
like some sin,
Oh, I see.
some action that caused this equal and opposite reaction of pain.
Interesting.
Like Eliphaz is looking for this simple equation
Yeah.
to solve this really complex human problem.
Yeah, I think it reflects how we all try to find cause and effect,
Mm-hmm.
you know, especially when faced with something as tragic as what Job is going through.
Yeah, so how does Eliphaz try to make this argument?
Well,
Well, the source points out that he starts by taking this kind of subtle jab at Job.
okay.
You know, reminding him of how wise and compassionate he used to be. There's even this quote, "Behold, you have instructed many, and you have strengthened weak hands. But now it comes upon you, and you are weary. It touches you, and you are troubled."
Ew.
Like a backhanded compliment.
Totally. It's like he's trying to undermine Job's confidence a little bit,
Well-
you know, by pointing out how ironic it is that this wise man is now unable to comfort himself.
Exactly.
It's pretty clever as far as arguments go.
Yeah, and then Eliphaz takes it even further.
Okay.
Almost like he's attacking Job's faith,
Wow.
saying that it's based on ignorance, not real understanding.
Oh.
He says, is not your reverence your confidence, and the integrity of your ways your hope?
That's pretty harsh.
Yeah, it is.
He's basically dismissing Job's deepest beliefs as naive, reducing faith to this, like, overly simplistic worldview.
Right, and then comes the knockout punch.
Oh, boy.
This is where Eliphaz delivers his version of Newton's third law.
Okay.
He says that suffering is always a consequence of sin. This is the quote, "Remember now whoever perished being innocent, or where were the upright ever cut off? Even as I have seen those who plow iniquity and sow trouble reap the same."
So he's drawing this direct line between sin and suffering.
Yeah, exactly. Like there's this universal law that dictates if you sin, you'll suffer.
Yeah, but I think that's where things get problematic.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I mean, human suffering is rarely,
Yeah.
if ever, just a direct result of a single action.
Hmm.
It's much more complex than that, you know,
Uh-huh.
influenced by chance, by circumstances, by choices that other people make.
Yeah.
Eliphaz is really trying to oversimplify something that's inherently messy and complicated.
Yeah, to really drive his point home. Eliphaz even brings up this terrifying vision.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, he had of a divine being
Okay.
who basically tells humanity that they're insignificant
Mm.
and that they have no right to question God.
Wow.
He quotes this being as saying, "Can a mortal be more righteous than God? Can a man be purer than his maker?"
It sounds like he's shutting down any possibility of further discussion.
Exactly. Like he's using this vision to end the debate,
Yeah.
saying that suffering is just part of this divine order that we shouldn't even question.
Yeah, it's not for debate.
But here's the thing, and this is really important. Our source makes it clear that Eliphaz is actually wrong
Okay.
about why Job is suffering.
Really?
Yeah, it's not because of some sin Job committed.
Sure.
It's because of this divine wager
Oh, wow.
between God and Satan,
I see.
something that's totally outside of Job's control.
So this is a good example of why you shouldn't jump to conclusions.
Right.
Eliphaz's Newtonian approach is just too simple.
Yeah.
It doesn't account for, like, the vastness and the mystery of the whole situation.
So if we take a step back and look at this, what does this whole Newtonian logic applied to Job really tell us.
Whoa.
I think our source is pushing us to think critically,
Mm-hmm.
to question assumptions, even within religious texts.
Yeah.
Like, just because someone claims something is a universal truth
Yeah.
doesn't actually make it true.
Right. I think this deep dive is really an invitation to look deeper.
Yeah.
To go beyond just surface level explanations
Mhm.
and to really wrestle with how complex the human experience is,
Mhm.
especially when we're talking about things like suffering and faith.
Absolutely. So we've seen how Eliphaz tried to make this complex situation really simple by using Newton's third law, but it led him in the wrong direction. It
Yeah.
really makes you wonder, are there other areas where we do the same thing?
Hmm.
Like maybe we're taking a simple rule and applying it to something way more complicated
Right.
and ending up with a conclusion that's just plain wrong.
Something to think about.
Definitely food for thought as we wrap up this deep dive.
Absolutely.
Thanks for listening, everybody.
Thanks, everyone.
We'll see you next time for another deep dive.
See you later.